Welcome to Sinister Heroes. I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons, and we start to dip a little bit in some other aspects of it. But we are doing some lore. We're talking about the Nine Hells, and we're going to talk about one of the best archdevils or archdukes in the Nine Hells. We're talking about Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles is a lot of great things. Not only is he really full on into being an archdevil, he is smart, he's brilliant, and he's a wizard. He's the arcane devil. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but talking about his appearance and what he looks like, he loves the aesthetic of being an archdevil. He really does. So the description reads as follows: Mephistopheles played up his infernal image as much as possible, intentionally appearing as the classical archetype of a diabolical devil. He was 9 feet tall and striking. His handsome visage and charming yet unnerving smile of self-superiority contrasted by his more monstrous features. His fiendish claws, his bright crimson red skin, large bat-like wings, and impressive curling ram horns all left his hellish heritage on proud display. Another source of contrast was his dead white eyes against his long straight black hair, as well as dramatic flowing cape as dark as the deepest void. He is my dude. Like I cannot, like, he's so great, but he loves to look this. Like, he takes great pride, and pride is a thing that's very tied to Mephistopheles. As you see when we get into it, he really embraces this and puts it on full display for everyone to see. So since there's not much about the layer that Mephistopheles rules over, he rules over the 8th layer, which is Cana. So since there's nothing really in there except it's extremely frozen, it is way worse than Stygia, where Levistus is. It is detrimental to your existence to be there. Even if you do have clothing that's appropriate for cold weather, it will still kill you in a matter of hours. So Cana is no joke, but because it's so cold and so desolate, there really isn't much to talk about. So instead, we're going to talk about some of the specific powers that Mephistopheles has, especially considering kind of who he is. It really makes a lot of sense. So the text reads as follows: Mephistopheles was a being impervious to the cold, not due to having ruthlessly exposed himself to Cana's coldest temperatures, but because of his unrivaled mastery of hellfire, a corrupt and extremely potent energy with the properties of flame. Hellfire was unimaginably hot and created by tapping into and mastering the profane essence of hell and channeling it into a usable form of power. Unless he chose to repress it, his body would emanate dark flames, causing anyone who touched him or anyone nearby, if he invoked into a burst around him, to be scorched by the unholy energy. Now, Hellfire was a thing you could cast, and I want to say in 1st or 2nd edition. I want to say it's 1st, which required you to do a lot of things just to acquire the ability to do so. So it was really detrimental. In 5th edition and on, it's really not that specifically. But there is a quote here that states, "There are a few problems that cannot be solved through the application of overwhelming arcane firepower." And that is a quote by Mephistopheles himself. So understand the scope of power that he has as in his repertoire, I guess. To further his mastery of fire, Mephistopheles took up the study of wizardry, specializing in evocation magic, modified to taint his foes with foulest evil, with a noticeable disinterest in enchantments and illusions, given the nature of the Byautsu politics. Mephistopheles rarely traveled alone, often bringing 2 bodyguards with him wherever he went, and were able to summon a few glugons and pit fiends. Sorry, Glugons is a very difficult word to pronounce. Often choosing the latter, which would be the pit fiends, while his accompanying servitors kept the enemy busy. Given his sense of self-importance, he believed anyone who dared attack him deserved no less than utter obliteration, and so let loose a barrage of offensive magical destruction from the rear of the fight, teleporting away and leaving his allies to their fate if met with a real threat. Totally a devil, backstabber. Love it. Absolutely love it. Though lacking his most powerful spells as a wizard, Mephistopheles' innate spell-like abilities were more than made up for it. He could cast all sorts of ice and fire-related spells, showcasing his mastery of both elements, such as Cone of Cold, Fireball, Wall of Ice, or Fire, Meteor Swarm, being his most powerful, and the one he could use only once per day. He was also capable of inducing fear, either through an aura or via his gaze. Before we go any deeper into the video, I just want to say a big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel, the link is in the description, as well as the link to our World of Warcraft channel. Check us out. And with that out of the way, let's jump back into the video. Mephistopheles originally was an ancient entity, a being rivaling even Asmodeus in terms of age. And during his time as an archdevil, he had been responsible for many infernal innovations aside from hellfire. Millennia ago, he had entrapped a race of mercenary fiends similar to Mezoloths in hell, keeping them in a state of perpetual servitude and giving rise to the Galugon Biatsu. The fiendish surgeons within his palace augmented a breed of hellhounds, the fearsome Nicean warhounds, with even greater abilities, making Mephisto's pit hounds even stronger, bigger, crueler, and fierier than Asmodeus. He captured the blood and tears of Balfagor in a vial to create a powerful artifact known as Balfagor's Grace, allowing the user to summon a group of Irins known as the Blessed Angels that were ultimately loyal to him, although he originally intended to loan it to favored cultists before he lost track of it. One of the infamous schemes before the Reckoning, when he had done a secret identity as the archdevil Baron Molocroth, he disposed himself using this alter ego and ruled for a great amount of time before finally revealing his true identity. The traitors who co-conspire with Molocroth to overthrow Mephistopheles were ended along with the deception. When the Reckoning actually occurred and Mephistopheles' faction of Dispater, Mammon, and Greyon went up against Beelzebub's faction of Zariel, Belial, Moloch, his entire plan was undermined by a spy in his ranks. Greyon was secretly siding with Asmodeus, and with a blow of his horn, the pit fiend generals of both armies turned against them. Despite the blatancy of his rebellion against Asmodeus, he was perhaps the archdevil that suffered the least. Not cursed like Mammon, Beelzebub, cast down like Zariel, Belial, Greyon, or Moloch, nor left to stew in his own paranoia like Dispater. This is mainly because Mephistopheles is favored by Asmodeus. Mephistopheles, in a hierarchy of the nine hells, is the one below Asmodeus. Where Asmodeus is the most powerful one, Mephistopheles is the one right behind him, the one primed to take over, the one primed to dispose of Asmodeus. Mephistopheles has genius-level intelligence beyond that of most mortal comprehension. Asmodeus is at that same level, if not smarter. So the biggest fear Asmodeus really has is Mephistopheles. It's not anything else beyond that. Even so, during the spell plague, which is something we'll cover, Mephistopheles actually becomes a god for a brief period of time. And it's insane because none of the archdevils are deities. They're not. The only one that has godlike power in the nine hells is Asmodeus, which is part of the reason why he rules over it. All the other ones are archdevils. They are not deities. They are very powerful. They're about as strong as a deity would be. But again, their power varies. And Mephistopheles being the second most powerful is really, really entertaining. Basically, if you want to get Asmodeus out of the picture, you have to get Mephistopheles out of the picture. Because if you manage to beat Asmodeus, Mephistopheles will just kill you and win. And plan it out and be thought proactive about it. He is cunning. He has great instincts. He's very smart politically. And all those things which make him extremely dangerous is what makes him favored by Asmodeus. Asmodeus really sees a lot of potential and greatness in Mephistopheles, which is why Mephistopheles never gets as punished as anyone else. Every time he does something horrible, tries to overthrow or tries to do anything, he's essentially gets a slap on the wrist. Now, Cana being the last level before Asmodeus, his armies are really the bastion that's the most important to Asmodeus. So maybe it is a strategic thing to kind of keep him happy and not wring him out every time he does something wrong. But it is really important to note that Mephistopheles is the biggest threat to Asmodeus. Bigger than the Blood War, bigger than anything else going on, because Mephistopheles is the only one that can get to him. But his crutch, the thing that stops him from doing it, is his constant obsession and his, he just obsesses over things and will not put them down until he's completed them. I mean, granted, he's created a lot of innovations in magics and in hells and how everything works down there, even new types of demons and magical items. But if he ever truly focused his whole obsession on taking out Asmodeus, that's the one archdevil that could. Mephistopheles is definitely that devil that is part of that big push to just really represent what that is to be a devil. And he loves that aspect. He's smart. He's cunning. He set up a coup to betray himself in a costume just so that way he can end all the other people trying to get him. He's smart. He's cunning. He's powerful. His arcane mastery surpasses basically everyone else in hell. He's created a new type of fire. It is his achievements just keep mounting and mounting and mounting. The reason why you would make a deal with Mephistopheles is because you wanted magical power. You wanted to grow your magic. You wanted to be a great caster. You wanted to be entwined with the weave. That's the kind of stuff that would bind you to a deal with Mephistopheles. That being said, absolutely love this guy. There's just not too much to go in depth without going into literally everything else. A big part of him happens in the spell plague, and that's a big thing that we have to cover in its whole, and he's a big part of that. Or at least I like his part a lot, so I might cover it a little bit more in depth. That being said, if you made it this far, definitely like and subscribe. Definitely tell us what you think about Mephistopheles, why you like him, why you don't like him, what you do with him if you use him, or what you hope would happen to him. Definitely check that. Big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. What you do is absolutely amazing for us. And if you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, the link is in the description, as well as a link to our World of Warcraft channel where we stream games. Check us out, and thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.